Leafs at a disadvantage. Let's go! Good. We all feel good. Stop! Never gets rusty!
What am I doing?
Into my kitchen! Producer Drew, can you fix all this? And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet! Saw that going differently. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Ooh. Oh, this isn't just the Leafs playoff loss. This isn't just the Leafs playoff loss to the Bruins. This isn't just the Leafs playoff loss to the Bruins featuring controversial calls. This is a Leafs playoff loss to the Bruins with controversial calls with 2 days until the next game. Oh yeah, all day Thursday, all day Friday, we're gonna be yapping about it, and then all day Saturday, and the game starts an hour later just to give you a little bit of extra time to talk about it. Leafs lose 4-2 to the Boston Bruins, dropping Game 3 at home and falling behind 2-1 in their first round series. Now, the Leafs have gone into series with the Boston Bruins and been down 2-1 after 3 games. It did not help. The Leafs have been up 2-1 in series against the Boston Bruins, and that also did not help. So it's still a series that I believe in the stars and planets above will go 7. I mean, the league badly wants it to go 7. Oh, no. They scheduled it so that Game 7 would be on the 3rd Saturday of this series by accident, I'm sure. The Leafs and the Bruins, the biggest market in Canada and one of the biggest ones in the States in terms of TV. Nah. Listen, I think that 2 things can be true at once, especially when it comes to this particular game, because you got to look at every game in a vacuum, right? Number 1, the Leafs got jobbed. The refs absolutely jobbed the Leafs. And number 2, and I almost said 1 again, but just on the left hand. Number 2, and more importantly than the Leafs getting jobbed by the refs, is the Leafs got jobbed by the Leafs. 1 for 11 on the power play in 3 games. Dude, you got 11 power plays in 3 playoff games. That is a miracle. You got 5 in 1 playoff game. That is a miracle, and you didn't score in any of them. You stinking deserve to lose. Dude, let's break it down. No scoring in the first period. It's a bit of a feel it out period. Very early on, Simone Benoit takes a puck over the glass penalty. Why? Leafs actually get a kill. That's crazy. Leafs get 2 power plays, and they don't score on them, but, oh, well, just keep doing the right things. And we go to the second period. And wait a sec. You can't just gloss over that. In the first period, you know who looked pretty good? Good. The guy who we've talked about for 48 hours for some reason, even though the Leafs won Game 2, Mitch Marner. Not just Mitch Marner. John Tavares and Matthew Knies, the whole line looked good. It was crazy coming out of Game 2, the numbers that line sucked. After 40 minutes, they had less than 3% of the expected goals for percentage, and I think after the entire game, it was still less than 10%. You don't need to know analytics to know that stinks yucky caca. Sorry, I know some of you watch this with kids. Did they laugh? I bet they laughed. But visually, like just watching it, I'm watching Tavares out there. He's going blow for blow with David Pastrnak. He's in board battles all the time. He's winning faceoffs. He's winning those board battles and puck battles. I love what he's doing, and why is his line always in the defensive zone? But it doesn't matter. Tavares makes $11 million. He's on a line with another guy who makes almost $11 million. Is that extra $100,000 the difference between Tavares and Marner? Holy cow! But Knies, while trying, and like you can tell the effort's there, he's getting trucked a lot. And the puck management's tough. They get hemmed in a lot. It was way better in this game. And the narrative was, if they just get Marner going, if they just get this line going, the Leafs should win. And I still believe that. And they bottled it anyway. But what happens on the first one? Joel Edmondson leading things. What? Gets into the slot to cut off Kevin Shattenkirk. What? Mitch Marner, delirious, unbelievable pass to Matthew Knies, who goes to the net like you should, shovels the thing past Swayman, and they score! The first Toronto Maple Leaf not named David Kampf to score a goal against Jeremy Swayman, by the way. Why did they go to Ullmark in Game 2? Please go to him in Game 4. And the Leafs take the 1-0 lead at home! And here's what happens in this game, and in this period. Leafs had 2 power plays to the Bruins 1 in the first period. In the second period, the Bruins take the first penalty. It's Pastrnak hooking on Yarncroke. And the hook led to Järnkrok falling down and then hitting Pasta in the head. I mean, the Leafs got away with Max Domi knocking Jeremy Swayman over between periods, and he definitely meant to do it, let's be honest. So if you're a Bruins fan, I understand you being upset at that point. I mean, heck, here's Pete Blackburn, who's a huge Bruins fan, saying it out loud with his whole chest. I'm going to speak for both sides here and say it. These refs are bleeping booty. And then someone said, I love Pete's controversial takes. He goes, haha, I just hate complaining about officiating. It's so annoying. But they're holding this game hostage. Here's the thing. NHL refs don't call what's happening in front of them. They don't. They literally don't. And we know that because of what happened in this game. Producer Drew doesn't have a dog in the fight. Not a Leaf fan, not a Bruins fan. He's an Avalanche fan. He says into my ear during the stream, he goes, there's no way the Leafs are going to get the next power play. The Bruins are going to have to decapitate somebody. So you might say to yourself, oh, it's 3-1 in favor of the Leafs. That means the Leafs are going to get the next penalty. You might be right, you might be wrong, but what I know for sure, much more than the Leafs are getting the next penalty, is the Bruins are not going to take one. It's a little period of time, especially late in the period, where you can just do anything. You can do whatever you want. Puck is in the offensive zone. The puck is behind the Bruins net. Austin Matthews is battling for that puck. And Charlie McAvoy, who's got a name, Charlie McAvoy, probably the best defenseman on the Boston Bruins. Not probably, he's definitely the best defenseman on the Boston Bruins. Wraps his arm around Austin Matthews' waist and takes him down, nearly snapping Matthews' ankle if you go and watch the replay. And for any Bruins fan who's getting mad going, well, Matthews did it later in the game. Oh, you didn't like that, did you? Why wouldn't Matthews do that? It's allowed, apparently. So that's a missed call. All right, fine. It's a missed call. But again, 3-1, you know it's not getting called. Puck goes up the ice. Brad Marchand and Tyler Bertuzzi are going at it, and they're wrestling, and they're jostling, and they're honestly, they look like, did you ever have the old 1985 video game for the original Nintendo called Ice Hockey? And the way that you got into a fight is you went like this, and you like burst into a cloud. That's what they looked like, but at the very end of it, Brad Marchand, like, he trips Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm trying to find a more intricate way to describe what happened. He put a stick in Bertuzzi's feet, and tripped him on purpose, and I don't care if it was an accident, it's still a trip. Play continues. Trent Frederic comes in on a play that should be long dead, shoots, and scores. The game is tied, but let's call it what it is. Ilya Samsonov, I can't. An AHL goalie, no. An ECHL goalie needs to make that save. I think you call up any other goalie in the Leafs organization, honest to goodness, you call up Keith Petruzzelli, he makes that save. That is awful. Oh, Sammy was so good in game 2. What about game 1? What about you never, ever know what you're getting out of this guy? So there is no shortage of things to be upset about after this goal. The play should have been long dead. You missed 2 calls. There's an easy hold on McAvoy. And if that's not your flavor, an easy trip on Marchand. What are you doing? I'll meet you in the middle. Play should have been dead. Marchand, Bertuzzi, both of you go. Both of you go. You're both doing stuff you shouldn't have. Both of you go. Play should have been dead. But instead, you get Trent Frederic skating in with speed in a position that he shouldn't have been in a situation that he shouldn't have been in. Shoots and oof Maroon Sammy. Game in, game out, you don't know what you're getting out of this human being. He cost them the game in game 1, or at very least did not help them win at all in the slightest in game 1. Game 2, he was good. He was very good. He was very good. Gave them a chance to win, and they won. This one, you have such a good chance of going into the third period with a 1-0 lead at home. That can't go in. It can't go in. It can't go in. And I think 2 things can be true at once. The play should have been long dead because of at least 1 Bruins penalty. And that's a terrible, terrible, terrible goal. With Brad Marchand getting away with stuff, Sheldon Keefe had this to say.
He's a world-class player, both in ability and in how he plays. I mean, the gamesmanship and everything, it's world-class. And he's been in the league long enough, as you can see. He gets calls. It's unbelievable, actually, how it goes, But we got to play through that. You got to play through that stuff. I don't think there's another player in this series that gets away with taking out Bertuzzi's legs the way that he does. There's not one other player in the series that gets away with that, but he does. Because, You know, it's an art, and he's elite at it. So we have to manage our way through that, avoid putting ourselves in situations where he can put us in those spots. And then as far as this game, I think we've managed that pretty well for the most part. Obviously tonight we make him a stake at a key time that allows him to get the winner.
Here's the thing with that quote from Sheldon Keefe. He's talking about Marchand getting away with stuff, and he did it, I think, eloquently. He didn't get mad. I don't think he's going to get fined for it. I don't see why he would. And here's what's good about that. That's game 3. Ideally, this game goes at least 6 if you're the Leafs. It has to now if you're going to win it. They can't. The minimum they can win it in is 6. They got to win 3 straight. And you've called the league's attention to it. Here's my thing. It's Brad Marchand. That dude is in his mid-30s. Like, they're not going to start calling it now. Here's the other thing. He might be an artist at getting away with stuff. There was no art to that. It's literally just the refs going, not a penalty, at an obvious stick in the skates. Player who has a stick in the skates falls down. Easiest call you'll ever have to make. Holy cow. Like, every game for a ref is like a test. It's like an exam. Except any given game, you don't know what's going to be on the exam. You're going to get some hard questions, but you pray for an easy one, and you want to just get the easy one right. That trip is 2 + 2 = 4, and the ref put 2 + 2 = potato! And like seconds later, the puck's in the back of the Leafs net. But because Sammy is just... he's good. He's bad. He's really bad. He's the reason they won. He's the reason they lost. I can't do it with this guy. I am rapidly losing my appetite to have this guy rejoin the Toronto Maple. Like, he's an unrestricted free agent, right? I think so. It doesn't matter. He needs a new contract, whether he's an RFA or a UFA. You want him back? Why? Now, here's the miserable miracle to come out of all this. Remember we said the Bruins are definitely not going to get the next penalty. It's going to go against the Leafs. It goes against the Bruins. Charlie McAvoy, hilarious, roughing against Connor Dewar, and before you call it a makeup call, no, it's not. He slammed Dewar's head into the ice like a sociopath. And they call those and they say, 2 minutes for being naughty. Try doing that at the grocery store. I know hockey's not the grocery store, but what the? But then, as if to go nanny boo-boo, the penalty is in the last 2 minutes, so you know it's going to get split up if the Leafs don't score. And also, Tyler Bertuzzi goes up high on Charlie Coyle, and he takes a penalty. And then, this makes it worse, for the next 20 or 30 seconds, the Leafs forgot how delayed penalties work. Okay, so what the Bruins wanted to do here was hang on to the puck for as long as possible, to kill as much of their penalty as possible, to give themselves as long a power play at the end of the 4-on-4 action as possible. Do you want to see the Bruins' ironclad strategy for keeping the puck off the Leafs? Here it is. Here it is. This is the strategy. It appears to be standing there, and here comes somebody. I'm going to pass it off. All right, still no one. Come here, give it back. I just want to work on my... Oh my God! How are we tied in a series against a team that literally doesn't know the rules? Like, honestly, a shift like that, you wonder how the team's not down 3-0 in the series after that. The Bruins get a power play. The Leafs make it to intermission. Just like they did in the first, by the way. The Leafs had a brutal final minute of the first period, a period where they did fine. Bruins keep the power play to begin the third period, and guess what? It's Jake friggin' DeBrusk. On the power play, you're allowed to score on those. The Bruins take the lead. 1:07 in, and then for the next 10 minutes, Jeremy Swayman stands on his skull and brain. And then this was easily the cruelest sequence of the game. Cruelest. Max Domi with the feet cross ice, don't know how it got across, didn't hit Riley's stick, it didn't need to. Riley collects the thing, throws it on, and the hockey gods, they make you think that they favor you. Riley puts it on, it hits Bertuzzi's skate. It hits Hampus Lindholm's skate. It goes into the net. Bertuzzi has tied the game to 2-2. And mere seconds later, the next shift, the first line doesn't even leave the ice. Max Domi, the giveaway. He can score. He almost does. Puck goes the other way. And you'll never believe who it is. Danton Heinen is behind the Leafs net with the puck. Brad Marchand is alone in front for what feels like an unworldly eternity. Bertuzzi is in front of the net, shadowing Casper the Friendly Ghost. That is the captain of the Boston Bruins. That is a Team Canada Olympian. Well, he would be if the NHL cared about international hockey. At very least, he was in the World Cup of Hockey thing that they were going to do regularly and then don't, and they said they're going to now. You can't call the Bruins your boogeyman. You can't call Brad Marchand your boogeyman because you're talking about a thing, a mythical monster that kids are afraid of. The difference between the Leafs and Brad Marchand and kids and the boogeyman is kids never forget about the boogeyman. How do you leave that guy alone? And the Leafs, mere seconds from taking the lead on home ice in the third period, honestly, that Domi goal goes in. I think they win the game. That's not how it goes. Marchand scores it. The Leafs look like they're challenging, but again, just the stupid mistakes. Like, the fourth line is on the ice. It's a modified fourth line, so you can't even blame it on Ryan Reeves. Yarncroke is out there with Kampf and Dewar, and they are hemmed in for a minute. They're hemmed in there for a damned minute. And then the Leafs finally get the puck. They get the whistle, right? So they can catch their breath. And then, with that whistle, the game goes to TV timeout. Producer Drew with a great point. What's the fourth line doing out there with 5 minutes to go right before a TV timeout? Learn something about friggin' coaching. What? I know a lot of Leaf fans, you're so on Producer Drew. I get it. But he's a guy whose team has one of the best players in the league in Nathan MacKinnon. And I love hearing about how Nathan MacKinnon is used on the Colorado Avalanche versus how Austin Matthews is used. Matthews played over 23 minutes in this game, and that's a lot. It's still not enough. What Drew was saying is Nathan MacKinnon wouldn't have left the ice for the final 5 minutes of the game. And yeah, it's Nathan MacKinnon. He's an animal. Dude, you have Matthews and Bertuzzi is that was a big get. That was a huge signing for the Leafs this summer. And Max Domi and, Nyes isn't the big name player, but Tavares and Marner certainly are. You have all those huge names, and that is just your forwards. You pay Morgan Riley $7.5 million, by the way. He just set up a goal, and you've got the fourth line out that late? Manage your friggin' bench! Yeah, well, you put that line out there to prevent goals. Yeah, from which team? But anyway, the Leafs survive that, and they look like they're getting chances, and Swayman's in net, and I wish he wasn't in net, and the Bruins are blocking shots, and they're cutting off passes, but the Leafs are inching closer and closer, and the puck is behind the Bruins net, and Tavares gets called on McAvoy. Not only does Tavares get called for hooking on McAvoy, it's McAvoy behind the net, getting taken down by a player from behind, because apparently there's been a huge difference between the end of the second period, where that was allowed, and the end of the third period, where it's not anymore. Sorry, guys, party's over. I am willing to meet Bruins fans halfway and say that was a poorly officiated game going both ways. The Leafs got murdered on calls at key junctures in this game. Call one of McAvoy or Marchand right before the Trent Frederic goal that Sammy should have had, but the play should have been dead, and Tavares getting called for that enormous flop from Charlie McAvoy, by the way. At that juncture, with less than a minute to go, that's a death sentence. You've killed them. You blow that whistle, you end the game. Marchand gets the empty netter on account of, dude, there was a play where Sammy joined the rush because the Leafs had to get the puck. Marner with a good play there, and they had to get the extra attacker. But Marchand gets the empty netter and the game is over. But maybe that's just McAvoy with the art of drawing penalties. And I mean, the Leafs have had guys like that. Kadri and Bunting, and the art of taking penalties appears to just be the art of falling down. And the huge difference between McAvoy and Marchand and Kadri and Bunting is maybe Marchand and McAvoy do it a little bit more subtly. I think they do. Also, they just like those guys more. Let's be honest, they do. But what am I asking for, right? What am I asking for? I'm asking for the refs to call an extra penalty against the Bruins there on a night where the Leafs had 5 power plays. I think the Leafs got jobbed in this one a little bit by the refs. No one jobbed the Leafs harder than the Leafs. Matthews, Bertuzzi, Riley, Marner, Tavares. You can't get a power play goal on 5 attempts. You don't even get all the way through a power play because you take a penalty, Tyler Bertuzzi. You're not going to win the series. Like, you're already having to contend with the Bruins have, if not better goaltending, they have better goaltending. But if you don't agree with that, they at very least have far more consistent goaltending. The Bruins have more consistent goaltending than the Leafs. At 5-on-5, this series is extremely tight. Extremely tight. So if the 5-on-5 battle is tight, if the goalie battle is tight, I'm not sure it is, but if it is tight, then this series is won and lost on special teams. The Leafs penalty kill sucks, and their power play might suck worse. Questions. Like, dude, from Tim McAuliffe, sorry, the Leafs have now scored 3 or fewer goals in 10 straight playoff games, and 2 or fewer in 9 of those 10 games. This is from a team who finished second in the league in regular season scoring at 3.63 goals per game. The Leafs average over 3.5 goals per game in the regular season. The playoffs show up, and they don't even get 3. They're down like over a goal a game. You're dead. Like, this is why it falls a little flat when you go, oh, officiating. Like, all the Leafs having a power play is at this point in this series, all having the power play is, it's just the Bruins are down a man. Like, it doesn't mean, oh, the Leafs have a chance to score here. No, they don't. It just means the Bruins are down a man and they're less likely to score. Like, I'm sorry, I'll call the guy out. Who thought hiring Guy Boucher, who looked at Guy Boucher's coaching resume in the NHL and was like, that guy should run our power play? I'm not saying Guy Boucher is a bad coach in general. I'm just saying I would have never at any point referred to the power play as a strength of his. Since when is suplexing someone in front of a ref totally okay? And I mean, it's McAvoy just totally wrapped up around Matthews. Okay, fair, definitely fair and stupid, but if I'm a Bruins fan, I'm pointing up at this right here. Dude, Max Domi intentionally hit the Bruins goalie. Like, I'm amazed. Like, here's how you know the Bruins are not the Bruins of years past. There wasn't a line brawl there. Like, that should have been just 18 guys grabbing 18 guys. Dude, if the Bruins had Thornton, Chara, McQuaid, Lucic, oh my God, on that, like, that's how you know they're all gone. Like, the Bruins have some tough nuts, but they don't have guys like that anymore. And that's how you know. Jacob Mitten, this is a good question. Has Sheldon Keefe ever considered starting with PP2? Because, honestly, do it. Like, they were asking during the stream, what are some ways that the Leafs can freshen things up on the power play? I honestly think that's one of the ways you could do it. Instead of doing the first minute 20 as the first unit, I mean, it's not like they're going to score, and the final 40 seconds or 30, if they're lucky, is the second unit. Screw it. Don't have 2 defensemen out there on the power play with the second unit. Have it be 1. Have it be Liljegren, or you can do McCabe. I don't care. You should probably do Liljegren, though. Have him out there. You can still put Yarncroke out there. You can still put Domi out there. You can still put Nyes out there. Throw Nick Robertson in there. As long as he's in the lineup, like, what are you doing? And if Willie returns in Game 4, you have him up on the top unit and send Bertuzzi down to the second unit. Start with the second unit. Have them do a quick possession, and, like, the second they lose the zone, switch them off. Or how about this? This one's crazy. You want to get Austin Matthews a little bit more ice time? Treat him like Alexander Ovechkin. Why does he ever need to leave? He's Austin Matthews. He's not playing the next shift after the power play if they don't score anyway. Whatever they do, they got to do something different. Producer Drew goes, why doesn't Matthews go back to the left instead of being on the right? Dude, it didn't work there either. The craziest thing about Austin Matthews is he's already the even strength goal scoring leader in Leafs franchise history. And yeah, he had 18 power play goals this season, which is a lot. But when you consider he had 69 goals, it doesn't feel like a lot, does it? Like, a team with these weapons, like, who are not even playing poorly. They can't score. I don't get it. I'll never get it. They have to switch it up fast or be one of the first teams in NHL history to fire a coach mid-series. What strength can you pull from Game 3 to focus on heading into Game 4 on Saturday? I mean, Sammy is a complete wild card, so do whatever works there with moderate consistency, but literally do nothing except practice the power play. Be like, all right, boys, we're going to practice the power play, and have them do that for 20 minutes. And after the 20 minutes, be like, all right, boys, let's get a drink before we move on to the next drill. And they get a drink. And then be like, all right, boys, now we're going to work on the power play. And then have them go out and work the power play. And have them do that for about 15 minutes. You know, go a little easy on them. And then be like, all right, boys, rest up. And then you give them a little bit of water or body armor or whatever it is and some orange slices like you're at soccer practice. And then you go, all right, boys, now that we're all fueled up, let's practice the power play. And you have them do it for an hour and a half. You know what the biggest flaw in that plan is? I can almost guarantee you in Game 4, the Leafs will not get 5 power plays. They need an occasional save. It'd be great to get the special teams performing better. Doesn't matter what the situation is, you have to score goals. You have to score goals. Jeremy Swayman's really good. You have to score goals. Connor Hellebuck's really good. He's allowed a bunch of goals. There's a lot of really good goalies in these Stanley Cup playoffs who have allowed a bunch of goals. Because we already know what the conversation is going to be with this team, with these players, if they lose in the first round. MLSE has a new CEO. How do you think that conversation is going to go? So, Brendan, what would you say the Leafs' Achilles heel is? We can't score goals in the playoffs. Oh, okay, very interesting. And you have 4 forwards making over $10 million this upcoming season? Yes, and I realize how that looks, and some of them will be traded. At least one of them will be traded. Oh, I have no doubt that one of them will be traded. You definitely won't be the one to do it. Oh, am I fired? Oh, into the sun. Yeah, dude. You can't score goals with that. It's going to be a very simple conversation. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. We're going to be back at it with another stream on Saturday. Subscribe to the STPN YouTube channel. You won't want to miss out. It's been a party. It's better when they win, though.